So the thing is that this is going to be maybe the most difficult part for people to understand, is that the analogy of heaven that we understand is the proper analogy. That is, the actual physical experience of things that are above you is the best analogy for that. And so that's why it's used to describe what the scripture is talking about. Now, what's going to happen is that not everybody will be capable of understanding act and potential. Not everybody is going to be able to understand the relationship between the invisible and the visible, the relationship between the patterns, the purpose, and their instantiations. And some people, like your great aunt that barely went to school, that maybe couldn't read, or wasn't the smartest person in the world, will have a very immediate vision of this. And if you ask them, they'll probably not have thought about it, and you'll say something like, yeah, Jesus went up into heaven. Of course he went up. Like, where else is he going to go? Like, he went up, and they haven't thought about it. It's intuitive. They haven't worked it out. And so, but the problem is that in some ways it's not that big of a deal, because their experience of that which is above them is the proper way to understand the spiritual hierarchies at the level at which they're capable of understanding it. Now, I will admit that in a world of satellites and a world of spaceships and of quasars and whatever, this can be difficult, because that great aunt of yours, whose intuition about what is above is actually right on in terms of her experience of this hierarchy, can be completely, like, their faith can be destroyed by someone pointing out to the fact that obviously Jesus is not hanging up there in the atmosphere. Like, he's not having to watch out for the satellites that are coming by, or, maybe chatting with the people at the space station, and that it's true. Some people's faith, sadly, could be crushed by that. And so in a way, maybe this is the time to be to press a little more the idea which you find in the ancients, which is that this is an image to help you understand the relationship between the invisible and the visible. And it's there in scripture already at the outset. For example, there are places in the Bible where we say our Father in heaven, and we don't flinch when we say that, but we also know that there are places in heaven where it says the heaven of heavens cannot contain you. And this is also the idea that the heaven of heavens, that is the highest heaven, the heaven which makes the heavens we see possible, right? Where is that? It's not a place. It's not a place, at least in the way that we think of it, right? It's the place of places, right? It's the cause of place itself, or the cause of the patterns behind the very patterns themselves. And you see that this way of talking about God all the time. We say he's the King of Kings, he's the Lord of Lords, and we try to help you see that God is obviously not a king sitting on a throne in the atmosphere throwing lightning bolts, but understanding what a king is might be one of the best ways for you to understand how the authority of God works, right? Understanding what a Lord is, understanding what, like I said, what heaven is the best way to understand the manner in which the invisibles move the visible. And so